You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I am going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, brilliant soul. Have you ever been in a room full of people where you could almost feel like it's only about the transactions that were taking place without any kind of genuine connection? And I'm not talking about literal transactions here, more like those subtle energetic exchanges where everyone's, how do I put it, sizing each other up. A sense of, well, who here is important? Who can help me? Who is worth talking to? What made me contemplate this was a networking event that I attended recently. A stark difference between two approaches of networking became quickly apparent. There were those who were living their lives with genuine kindness and those who lived their lives through a clouded lens of opportunity. I went into the experience with an open heart. I was curious and excited, ready to meet people, and I could feel the humming of the event taking place around me. For the first few minutes, I was just soaking it all in, and as the evening progressed, I started to notice a pattern. Some people would engage for a moment until they realized that I wasn't their, let's say, target demographic, or I couldn't offer them the exact kind of opportunity that they were scanning the room for. The shift felt subtle, but it was there. That slight glazing over their eyes, the polite smile that suddenly became mechanical, a quick glance over their shoulder to see who else might be walking by, and then poof, they were gone. Here's what struck me the most from this experience. Some people walk into a room looking for value extraction, while others walk into a room looking for value exchange. And the ones who are truly magnetic, the ones you feel are mesmerizingly grounded in their power, those people walk in radiating kindness that is maintained and not laced with calculating opportunity. The funny thing is that you never know who you're speaking to. That person standing awkwardly at the edge of the room, holding their drink, feeling unseen, might one day build the company you dream working with. Or they might not, but either way, your energy towards them becomes a thread in the tapestry of the legacy that you build. We've all seen this concept as a notable television archetype. There's a bully who laughs at the kid with big dreams, the quote-unquote cool one who looks down on others who don't yet have it together. And then years later, the tables turn. The very person who was mocked, dismissed, or brushed off becomes the one whose signature everyone suddenly wants. It's poetic justice. And it's also spiritual law, because energy circulates, and the way we treat others is the way we will inevitably be treated one way or another by someone else. Even if it's not identical, conceptually, the treatment we receive will be a mirror of that which we put out. This can be considered sort of like spiritual economy. In our material world, we're taught to measure value through money, followers, social clout, and opportunity. But in spiritual economy, the truest form of currency is found in kindness. And there's this really cool thing about considering kindness as a spiritual currency. It compounds. Every act of kindness, every moment of being present with someone, every choice to listen rather than to dismiss adds to your energetic wealth. And while in contrast, every dismissal, condensation, or manipulation might gain temporary material advantage in certain circumstances, but will ultimately become a source of depletion. Because even if you quote unquote win in the short term, You're investing in a reality where your worth is conditional on what you can extract. And this, in my opinion, is a key for why so many people burn out grinding their way to success, because it's exhausting to hold up a house of cards that is built on manipulation tactics and disingenuous connection. There are two archetypes, as I mentioned at the beginning, that are at play in every room. Let's call one the extractor, and we'll call the other the investor. The extractor looks for what they can take. They're the ones mentally scanning. Who do I need to talk to? Who can help me get ahead? While the investor, on the other hand, looks for what they can nourish. They're the ones who see potential. And you can feel this difference immediately. Extractors feel sharp. Investors feel expansive. The extractor's energy says, prove your worth, while the investor's energy says, you're a diamond in the rough. And when you live yourself as an investor, investing your kindness, your presence, your curiosity, you build invisible bridges that open doors in the most unexpected ways. If I'm allowing myself to be completely transparent with you, there were moments at that networking experience where I felt little pangs of rejection. That familiar ache when you realize someone's interest evaporates the moment they clock that you are not useful to them. But instead of shrinking, I decided to observe, allowing the moment to be a wise teacher. What I noticed in particular was how light I felt creating moments and memories with people who were kind for no reason, no agenda, no performance, simply connection. Every single one of us is mid-story. We're all still becoming. And that means when you meet someone, you're meeting them mid-metamorphosis. The person you're speaking to might be in the midst of outgrowing their cocoon, and you might be bearing witness to their awkward in-between stage, the part where they're still learning how to stretch their wings. So the question here becomes, can you be kind while they're still in process, where they're unweaving the threads of who they once were and becoming who they're meant to be? When we approach others, no matter who they are, with kindness, we acknowledge someone in their present as well as in their becoming. When we do this for others, we're also showing up for ourselves in this way, because the way we treat others is often a reflection of how we believe we're treated in the world around us. If you move through the world calculating who's worth your time, you probably believe life is doing the same thing to you, calculating whether or not you're worthy of a reward of some sort. But when you move through life with kindness, you're declaring that there's enough for everyone. That value isn't something you earn by outperforming others, but something you reveal by being who you are. Kindness is the ultimate act of faith in abundance and is the greatest currency. So consider this. What if the person you're dismissing today is your future collaborator, client, or even teacher? What if the version of you who makes it one day is looking back on a very moment grateful that you chose kindness when you could have chosen ego? Because life has a funny way of looping back, and every connection you make is a seed. Some bloom quickly, some take years underground before sprouting, but kindness ensures that what you've planted will grow into an elevated next chapter, whether you plan for it to or not. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you about an important caveat regarding kindness. Partaking in kindness as a currency is not about being naive. It doesn't mean saying yes to everyone or ignoring your discernment. True kindness includes self-respect. It means not needing to be cold or diminishing to be clear or to protect your peace. It's about being boundaried, not bitter. Open-hearted, but not allowing of manipulation. Kindness isn't a weakness, it's a strength that requires inner stability, because when you can be kind, even and especially when others aren't, you've transcended reactivity and allowed yourself to choose power over pettiness, which by no means is an easy thing to do. What I find most beautiful is that kindness often hides secret invitations. That person you smiled at on the way out of an event might remember your warmth later and reach out to you when the timing aligns. That short, genuine conversation you had with a person standing alone, it might inspire them to pass kindness forward. And even if nothing arises from your kindness, you benefit because kindness regulates your nervous system. Your body feels safer when you're being kind because it's congruent with who you really are. The times in your life when you're not pretending or competing or defending, you're simply being. We often underestimate the ripple effect of gestures of kindness, or small gestures of kindness, I should say. Maybe the person that you complimented that day goes home feeling a little lighter and they can pass it on to their children. Maybe they show up differently in a next conversation and then they meet someone important and are able to carry your energy into that encounter. We don't need to know the outcome per se, but we can, through kindness, trust its current and its flow. Because in the grand tapestry of our lives, kindness is what weaves golden threads that connect people in invisible ways. And one day, those threads probably will circle back to you. Not because you chased after them, but because you chose to live your life investing in kindness as the greatest currency. If we allow ourselves to reflect on people who are now deemed successful, so many of them have stories of being overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed, of sitting in rooms where no one saw them until one day everyone did. Life always seems to carry this kind of poetic way of balancing the scales, where the person who treats others as disposable ends up feeling disposable themselves, where the one who sees only hierarchy ends up feeling trapped in it, where the one who treats others, though, with respect, regardless of titles, outcomes, or benefits, walks through life in peace because they have come to know that their relationships aren't built on extraction, but connection, because they trust the flow of potentials, where a stranger could become a friend, where an awkward conversation could be a seed of collaboration, where a quiet observer might one day hold the key to a door they didn't even know existed. And beyond all of this, it's not even about what you get by being kind. It's about who you become. Because every time you choose kindness as the dominant way in which you act with others as well as yourself, you become more aligned with who you are wanting to be. And so my invitation to you is this: the next time you walk into a room, any room really, take a breath, take a pause, and remember to lean in with kindness. Look people in their eyes, stay present with them, because the person you overlooked today might one day be the one holding the pen that writes your next chapter. Until next time.